So yesterday when we analyzed the charts for XLM and Hbar XRP, the previous thread of analysis, we were talking right about here, right? And we dropped. Actually, I tried to get off of the phone. I tried to get off of the analysis thread as fast as I could because I started to notice an opportunity for a trade or for positioning, right? So we kind of spoke about these positions down here, really saying that even this may even be a good opportunity here, but ideally, right, these bottom entry zones. So we spoke about this bottom side of around 42.2739, of which did end up happening here over what? It must have been probably about an hour later, right, that it got down to this point. So we got that, right? And then we started making our merry way up and we started doing good. So then it's interesting because I feel like 6 or 7 hours later, all the way up there, like we start to get these like, you know how somebody knows something all the time? Everyone says that, right? Like someone always knows something. And there's this weird like larger than normal candles starting to happen here and coming back right into our capitulation level, right? The same entry zone, and people literally imagining that, you know what, this is probably that entry zone, so let's go ahead and take it. But then out of freaking nowhere, then we get this right here, right? So then we get this like hikes on Canada earlier today, and then we get the Trump outline sweeping new tariffs for dozens of trade partners, and Asian shares fall as U.S. unleashes fresh tariffs. And then the tariffs are alive, and everything just continues to do this incredible little capitulation event, right? All the way down to literally to the zones that we actually spoke of for XLM in the previous days, which is actually bouncing from that 38.81 that we spoke of before. My goodness in heaven. Okay, now this does highlight a different formation, and one that's absolutely very familiar to the one we talked about or have on XRP. Yeah. Okay, but let's go ahead and find out what that's going to do. Before we get started, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do everything necessary to get this thing to live long, thrive, and survive. My name is Arca, coming at you here at 10:20 p.m. Pacific time on July 31st, and this is officially the end of the month. Guys, we have got here. We arrived to the end of the month. Okay, so this means a lot, though. Remember, we spoke about this yesterday. We said that we're not quite out of the woods. There are still some economic data was still to come out, and we also said that the monthly close, so the retracement of the monthly close, is also there. So that could present some dangers and some volatility in the market. Okay, so that did kind of happen, right? And now we're in the precipice of like what could be this new monthly open. But I have to tell you this, though. Not a lot of people know this, and not many traders will ever point this out. In fact, I can almost bet that I'm the only trader that will point this out to you and say that it's not just the monthly closure that we got. And it's not it's not only the 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and 4 day confluence closes all together. So, so it's not just those 4 days all together closing at the exact same time and also the monthly time frame, but it's also, check this out, the 7-month closure. So we just got a fresh 7-month start here. And this is our prior 7-month bar. Okay, so this opens up a plethora of information. Now, momentum on this, I guess we can see, right? It is absolutely suggesting upside, but remember, within the scope of 7 months, right? And it's definitely bottoming out here. We're flattening out in volatility, which means that it could actually increase, volatility and participation on average leading into the weeks and months ahead. Okay, well that's all good, that's all good, right? But what could that mean here? And guys, by the way, I'm gonna do this only. We're going to try this only maybe this time. I want to see how I feel about this, guys, because what I'm saying here is that I'm about to put out this video here that includes XRP, XLM, pieces of Ethereum, Bitcoin, right, Hbar, and XDC. So this is a little bit of a challenging one here for me. So we're just going to feel this, okay? We're going to feel it out first. So everything in the crypto market and equities and everywhere got a 1 month and a 7 month close. So if we're looking at the statistical weight of probabilities here, then I can see, sure, right? The 30, let me see, right about here, 35.8646 is a present support there, right? So let's go ahead and leave it there. And then the wick top right up here is also one. If I do that, well, you'll notice here that we kind of already drew that right about here, right? So we've already been looking for this anyway. We've never seen the 7 month chart in our lives until now. Okay, so that is absolutely a probability there. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of highlight it here and adjust the other targets, right? I'm just going to leave this here in general, actually. Right, because I want you guys to know that there are probabilities for dropping all the way down here, and they may be able to save the market from potentially getting ourselves into bigger trouble. Now, the reason why this is important here, guys, is because of this. Check out, let's just observe this first. The 50%, right, of your previous 7 month bar, which is what we talk about all the time, it's right about here. Okay, so that's suggesting that we would go below these support zones, and those support zones are incredibly important. Okay, fine. So that's why I'm mentioning this, that there's a statistical probability and there is also a technical probability that we would stop at this point. Now, should we consider that 50% all the way, it actually falls right beneath even these two candles here. So that already gives us, the potentials of a bear trap. Okay, all right, so good enough information. Now, let me go ahead and display something else to you, though. Let's go ahead and open up a different chart and take a look at XLM from this perspective. This is your hourly time frame, suggesting that we are within a potential bullish formation. Now, this would actually show some upside after maybe we can get this type of capitulation down to 38,735. But I must warn you, this type of price action here and that kind of bounce again leads into that thing that I asked you to remember, the dead cat bounce, right? So let's go ahead and just present here what that psychological formation target would be, and that would take us down to the 37.39.19. Well, 37.39.19 just so happens to be very, very close to the concentrated focus area that we've been looking at between 38 and 37.5. Okay, so where I think that we may be near a floor. Okay, so that also would serve as a potential shakeout, right? It would be like a bear trap right here, thinking that we failed the regression just like it did here, right? And then everything would then start to capitulate. Now, I have one more little thought for you within this. Check this out. Now, what do you think about that? We have this regression from that wick, from this candle, and from this candle here. Well, that's curious that they're kind of aligning that way, right? And should we put an array on this, or actually let's just say we can use this all the way to that point? Well, look at that. It's a perfect regression. All right, so that's only a speculation, guys. It's only telling you that could probably be the floor here, right? So somewhere around this area in here is where we could bottom out. And certainly we have some supports in that downside, and we can just kind of highlight this like this and just observe historically to see what's around there, right? So let's just lift the time frame a little bit and see what we got. Well, take a look at that pivot right there. Nice. All right, so very cool. I think that, yeah, maybe we could even drop to that 36 like we said, or 35, 36.2 like we talked about, even if it did drop to this 35.4 that of course, we've already talked about as well. It's bullish overall. Okay, guys, so, and the take profit target from this formation here that does have a pretty good hit rate would actually be measured in this manner here. So let's just say these candles continued here, right? Another hour, and we started bouncing from this zone here, or that 36, whatever that was, and this is your bottom side. Well, this thing would actually start to retrace for an upside here, right? Because this is typically what that broadening formation does. And let's just say that we would start breaking out of this point here on August 1st, right? Somewhere around there. Let's just say August 1st still, within this zone here. So if that is the case, we would then take the measurement of the formation, right? So we can use, I would probably just say, you know, to keep it easy, we'll just use this one here. Just go a little bit lower there. And this trend line would lead us towards the top side. Guys, if you want to know how to do this, please remember that we are about to run out of seats here for this Saturday's beginners class, and we're going to be giving all of the welcome packets here. They've officially launched, right? So some of you already may have gotten your welcome packets, some of you may have not, but they're already on their way. Okay, guys, so that's going to be for a 9-week mentorship, twice a week, starting with me. Live with me, right? And that's going to be starting on Saturdays and Thursday evenings. Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's going to be for an hour lecture, 30 minutes of Q&A, and it usually goes to 2 hours, of course. And then repeat it again on Thursday evening, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, for those of you who are potentially out of the country. We may have many students everywhere. So the top side target that we're getting here, guys, description in the guys, the link in the description below. Please go ahead and just do that. Top side target on this is just about this here. So that's telling us that the range anywhere between 47.45 to that top that we just kind of talked about, right about here, could be the area of take profit. But we still got a little bit of pain apparently, and yeah, guys, so please be careful. Now, speaking on Ethereum compared to this, that certainly has a very similar formation, as you can see here, guys. So this is these are called the symmetrical descending broadening wedge, right? And they can be played, honestly speaking, they can be played both ways, upside or downside, right, guys? So the target to the downside could very well be twice, the equal move here, right? So in this case, guys, if we were able to kind of get ourselves the equal move to the upside, well, in this diagram, it's telling you that we would just simply take the distance here, right? So from here to this point, and that'll give us the top side target. So if that really is the case, there are two technical ways to measure this. I can see that it's giving you one way here, but it's all good. I can show you both ways. Now, one way would be, sure, from the area right on top here, right to the very bottom side of the candle that we just noticed right there, right? So correct it just a little bit and put it right there. And then this would be an equal move to the upside, right? So that's kind of like this. A lot of people would tend to take this as maybe a bars pattern. So you can go ahead and draw and take the sample of your bars like this. And as soon as you have that sample, let's just go ahead and apply it like this here. And that'll give you maybe even the perspective of time coming up to this area here, right? All good. Now, another thing that we can observe is the angled take profit. So that would be from this point to this point here, and you apply it to your trend up here, and it gives you this top side target too. Now, please remember that this was just a little bit short here because the price action is short. The true resistance is right up here. So all good. Okay, so those are three ways to measuring the top side here for at least for Ethereum's formation. So this is telling you that we are looking okay. I'm looking at Ethereum here because specifically on the small caps, I feel like these would kind of move the market. Now, Ethereum also does have the criteria ready to break out from this zone here. So these targets would be around 12,000. So you can imagine here that this would be like a Bitcoin at I don't know, 250,000 Bitcoin, maybe 300, something like that. Of course, the targets are just for now. But what I'm looking at specifically is the breakout area that could be, magically speaking, perfectly at around $5,000. And that is, pretty close to where we reached on 2021, right before the epidemic. So that's very curious, guys. Now let's take a look at one more thing here before we move on. Ethereum does have the monthly close and a 7-month close as well, just like everything else, right? So if we look at your monthly, if this thing did retrace 50%, well, that would be highly, just unfortunate, but that would lead us to right around the 2009-31 to right around 2009-89, where there's confluence here, October 2021, of course, right? So, but if you look at this on, of course, remember the 7-month time frame. The 7-month time frame is giving you some critical information here too. right? And this would actually have space even lower, right? So, well, actually, you know what? It would be higher than the present space. This would actually be right around the 3,332. So that would imply that there's something incredibly wrong here, and maybe we have like a huge capitulation event coming, and this would be incredibly bearish for just a little bit. Well, I got to say that that's not consistent with how the candle structures are placed here. These are long wicks to the downside, and this is technically a lower candle, so this would be a hammer. I mean, I understand that it's really very close to these to the top side of this one here, and it could be also considered a hanging man here, but you know, in all technicalities, it could also be a hammer. But yeah, that's a lot of buying pressure from this point on. One more thing I wanted to show you within the Ethereum chart, guys. Actually, that would be within the BTC chart. Is that it is within an inverse head and shoulders formation, and should this pull back, you know, BTC now would actually reach the areas of around 110 to 109. And that would be a very large pullback here. But let's see the monthly. So the monthly time frame is indicating a potential of maybe this. I mean, this is just one here, right? So the weight of this may not be the best to observe. So the hard targets would actually be right around there. So, you know, technically speaking, the 50% is this one bar here. So I guess we just put it there just in case, I guess. So 112.44 is the one area. Liquidity bottom here would be 109.145 to 110.17. I'm not saying that we are going there officially, but I will go ahead and show you the 7-month time frame here. And the 7-month time frame does indicate a pretty close target to this area here as well. Okay, so I want you to be ready for those things. However, if we do observe things from a biweekly perspective, biweekly would actually introduce us the weekly perspective. The weekly perspective would actually show that we're within a formation here too, and that formation is very much similar to the one that we're observing within XLM and also Ethereum, right? We have the broadening wedge here, so you can actually see it if I start drawing the lines like this right over here, right, guys? So you have that, you know, you have that kind of recurring thing here, and getting ready for a potential breakout. So that would give some, you know, this is a 12-hour chart, right? So this is pretty, you know, it would happen within maybe 2 or 3 days that we could reach this target down here of 112 and get this thing to start riding towards the upside for a potential breakout. That could also be the case, okay? So just know that there is a potential for 112 where it could ride up back to the resistances of 119 over, you know, that week or 2 weeks. Now, moving on from here, let's go ahead and take a look at Hbar on the other side. I have actually another formation that I can show you here, guys. So yes, of course, we are looking like it's pretty dangerous here, right, guys? We broke out of this channel here, and usually when we break out of channels like this, there is sometimes the possibility of actually retracing the regression of the channel, right? So in other words, this would be potentially the play, right? So we get the top side, we actually ride and consolidate within the diagonal bounds here, and eventually break out. Now, the top side take profit target is actually measured simply by the width of your channel. So just about like this here, you would just go ahead and take that and apply it to wherever you broke out from. So let's say that you broke out here. So the top side target would actually show you something around right about there at around 57,236. Now, notice how there is a potential shorter bound here, right, guys? That's on purpose because we're meeting this resistance back here. So, guys, I'm just giving you a 53 just to give you an example. I'm not saying that we're going to go to 53. I'm just saying that within this range here, it's these targets. So don't take the targets here for the upside just yet. Okay, it's not consistent. This is random. Okay, so and now there is another probability for a target because we are noticing here that we have a shoulder, head, and shoulder. So that gives us another potential topside target. So if we do that, let's go ahead and take into consideration the inverse head and shoulders topside target, and that would actually introduce to us right from the middle of the right hand shoulder here, right, that introduces to us that target. So then that gives us the probabilities of continuation in 3 targets. We have the resistance target, which is the breakout point. We have the second target, which is the formation target, and also the second psychological target being the inverse head and shoulders. Now, I want to show you what's happening here, right, because this is very similar to what's happening. The resistance that we got here was not, in fact, all the way to this top side, but it was close enough, right? Even close enough to get to this to these candles here. So it is now pulling back. Okay, so this means what? Does it mean that we actually got this here and it's going to come all the way back down to this point? No, not at all, right? It doesn't mean that. It just means that we could be facing another area of support, and it could actually be located right about here. Okay, so that area of support would be around 20 cents, 741, so 20,741, and 22 cents, just about 23 cents, just under it. Okay, so that's only one area. Now, what gives me that feeling that, you know, that actually could be a very viable idea is the fact that we created a higher low in technicalities here from this W formation. So this W formation indicates potentials of a retrace of a 100% local high. So that means right here. And if you measure your inverse head and shoulders, voila, right? So there it is, giving us that 43,228 to about 46,614. So 40,614. Okay, so that's looking more like it as well. Now, do know that if it did drop all the way down to this point here, guys, there is an area of inflection, and that would be located right about here at around 17,506. Do I think it's going to go there? I actually don't believe it's gonna. I think if anything, it would be a higher probability of this target here, the 22,970, with a potential liquid bottom of the 50% of around 20. Is that, yeah, just under 22 cents, 21,886. So in fact, you know, just so that we keep our hands and mouths clear, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of highlight it there. Okay, team. So I'm going to put it there as a focus zone like this. And now we know where we expect price action to continue here. And that would also fall with your monthly time frame prior bar retrace, right, guys? So this is already around 30%. This is already just about 45%, almost 50% the prior monthly bar. And let's take a look at, just for shits and giggles here, your 7-month bar as well. So 7-month bar is indicating that we could be seeing a 50% retrace to just about this area here, 22,540. So 22,540 in comparison to some of the targets that we have as support. Well, check it out. It is right here and absolutely perfectly in the 50% of what? Let's just, it's in the yellow zone that we set as a focus, right? So let's just go down to more, you know, granular timeframes to see kind of like what that is, right? Here, okay, so here's your channel, right? Here's the pullback, and where's the blue line that we just drew according to the 50%? Well, here it is at 2284. Very cool stuff, guys. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at ticker symbol XDC and see what's going on. Now, I got to say that XDC is positioned here a little bit better than everything else. So I mean, this is a bull pennant, guys. It definitely has not failed like everything else did, right? So this has got to be outperforming. It's got to be outperforming like BTC, you know, Ethereum and everything else too, even outperforming XRP and XLM. So this here, guys, when you are building a pennant, right, a bull pennant, it is specific to an upside, right? So if you are building the pennant on the upside, this is a sign of consolidation before continuation. So now you know that a pennant is actually a continuation formation should it be built during the upside. Okay, so 3 targets to figure out on that. Now, bear pennants are the same thing, right? So this, because it is a continuation formation, if it's built during the downside, then very likely you have continuation to that downside. Okay, so now that you have that information, let's take a look at XDC. Okay, XDC hourly time frame upside converging within this pennant, right? So, and these typically break out when you're at about 65 to 75% the apex of the triangle. So that would be roughly, let's just say that we broke out somewhere here, right, guys? It's not to say that this can't be played to the downside. I'm just telling you that this is usually played for the upside, statistically speaking. Okay, so that would be your first target to that upside, leading you to 10. Well, actually, it'll be 1,084,000. Let's see. Oh yeah, 1,084,000 84,334. So just, you know, you can see that it's 10 cents, but with a million Satoshis there. Literally. So, yeah, so that would give you a hard target of this here. And we're just going to go ahead and just provide here the estimated targets for everything, guys, so that we can get through this quicker. So let's go ahead and put the receipts on this. So just about here, here, and here. Okay, so those are your targets right there, right, guys? Right about there. Now, this is just for your first target, because the second target is measured from the 50% of the triangle. So you take your trend line here, and then you apply it to the breakout zone, just like you did here, right? Just like there. And then that gives you your second probability of targets, of which give you another zone here, right? So that would, you know, I said that I was going to try to move faster, and yet your boy is not doing it, right, guys? But yeah, that would give you these targets right about there. And so let's just, you know what, I'll do you guys a solid and just put them on there too, right? So just about this, right, and this right here. So this is the combination of psychology and raw price action, some discretion in there. Okay, so that's your second target. Now your third target would be the largest point of your triangle, right, guys? So that would be, of course, measured from here all the way down to this point, right? So now we apply this to that top side as well, and that gives us a target of around 10. Yeah, look at that. So that'd be, yeah, so 1,450,000. That's pretty damn good. Or 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 million. Sorry. But yeah, okay. There are a lot of Satoshis there. But now this is actually implying that we would make it through an all-time high. So heads up at this. Yeah, so heads up at this resistance here at the all-time high, 10,353. Okay, so now, guys, the direction of the market is also very important here, right? Because we have a monthly closure on this, and your 7-month closure as well. Well, if we're looking right now, it is in a very dangerous, precarious area right now, right? Because the price action is falling beneath the prior month's closing valuation, which is the 978 there. So if that really is the case, guys, that means that we're creating support there, or resistance, sorry, in order for us to make it down to a crucial level. Now, should it make it down all the way to these 8 million Satoshi? I don't know that that is the full truth here. In fact, we would have to take a look at some other time frames as well to determine what that could be. There's high confluence right about this zone here. And if we were to go ahead and just put what that zone is in, you know, in this perspective here, let's kind of draw it in as a different color and say that it would be here, right? So let's go ahead and now come down to a smaller time frame and see what that was, or what that is, by drawing or by observing. Okay, so it's actually very, very, very much near this point here at around 955. So if that's the case, guys, I can see that there could be some trickery here. There could even be a drop into the 93.57, right? But the reason why I'm drawing this here for you is because there could be downside faced on this price action, and then we could face some type of liquidity grab and or bear trap. So if this bear trap happens, guys, this could actually shoot to the upside on a wolf formation, right, guys? So that would be, let's see, so we would have the 1, 2, 3, 4 wave, and this would actually take us to just about this target. Almost there, almost there. Let's see. A little back. I'm going to meet it with the 4th wave and put the trend line towards the top. And this would be the X marks the spot, right? So let's just go ahead and put a little bit of a circle in there and make sure that that is the potentials of the targets that we're looking for, which is around 10 million Satoshis. And yeah, I guess that is okay, because there's a lot of resistance around there. Your support area, the resistance area, well, that would be 10,353,000 to just about 10,780,500. So right around there. Okay, good stuff. So just heads up on this downside. I feel like this is going to be a more than likely probability here. Quick bounce to the upside should it deny entry into or you know, the exit of this triangle. Very, very confluent zone here. So be careful around the targets of 9 million Satoshis, 9.6 million. So heads up on that. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our wonderful XRP. And I got to go ahead and show you guys something here that is actually pretty important for us to determine, right, guys? So here we go. So this is going to be your formation here from the immediate short term that we just talked about yesterday, right? Now, we talked about it because we were expecting the upside here, right? We were expecting a pullback into the areas of, I mean, we have it in the other chart down here somewhere, right? Yeah, it's okay. But we were expecting a short-term pullback before we can get that upside. Our resistance was around the 315.80, 316, right? It came up to 317.7 and it pulled back. Very cool. Now, very sucky as well. So I want to go ahead and kind of show you here how this thing is being, like, I guess, kind of formed, because it is identifying, it's showing regression pretty closely here, right? So if I just kind of adjust this, the line here and kind of suggest this thing to go down here, we'll take a look at all this now, right? So all the regression here, including this and this, showing that this could have actually been the same formation that we're now, look at this, I'm going to get rid of this, okay, guys? And could it actually be the same formation that we're trading within everything else? Well, it looks like, again, we're within that symmetrical formation, right, guys? So this is your resistance here. This is your bottom side. We're bouncing, potential double bottom at around 291, and then continuation to the upside. Could that actually be it? Could there be a false breakdown as a trap? Well, that would be where the monthly time frame comes in. So your monthly time frame on XRP is indicating support right about here, which can invalidate your 7-month time at 290.51, and we just said 291 a little bit earlier, right? So this monthly, which is the December 2024, the end of it right there, right? That's your monthly closure there. So it denied price action from all the way up to 290, and it came literally all the way back down to where it closed at around 207. So almost $1 there. That is pretty significant. Okay, guys. So now the next thing to kind of go over here is, should it fall down to that area and fail? Well, there is actually room down here for us to see what's up at around 266. I get it. That would also be confluent to your prior month's 50%. I'm not even sure if it's going to reach all the way down there. Actually, look at this. Your prior month 50% is, curiously enough, no way. Check that out. It is absolutely at that monthly right. That is the prior month 50%. And okay, all right. Well, that was really impressive. So let me just go ahead and take a look at the 7-month time frame here as well and see what's up. Oh, what do you know? Look at that line right there. So that is also your prior 7-month bar before the 7-month one that we just closed right now, guys. That is absolutely impressive. Now, looking at the 266 target, it looks like there's really nothing in here. So if it does drop to 266, actually that would be a very short term thing so that it can drop all the way to 208. Not sure if it's going to do that, but I would bet maybe no. All right, so I don't know, guys. I mean, this is a 7-month candle, and that top side is responsible for literally a move from 42 cents all the way up to $3. I don't know that we're going to fail that. That's pretty significant for me. At least a gigantic bounce from this 290. I mean, if we really did that 290 right there, I would expect a bounce I would really expect a bounce all the way up to your 320 here, guys, to see about potential breakout on this, right? So, I mean, and that's at the minimum, because the take profit target for this damn formation here, right here, that's actually going to be around the 340. So if anything, I think the jump from this kind of bottom side would lead to a 340 there, okay, guys? So I am noticing that there's a bit of weakness going on right now, specifically with that monthly time frame converting all of these candles and its prior one into a resistance. So heads up, okay, guys? Yeah, I'm seeing that there could be a bear trap here, guys. There may be. This is not really bearish for me whatsoever. This is a gigantic green bar, and especially inside of the 7-month time frame, this is also a huge momentum bar for continuation. This is literally increasing volume as we go. I do not think this is bearish, and I do not see the potentials of a 260 or a 208. Okay, guys, please be careful with the markets out here, team, but this is looking pretty interesting here, okay? A little more pain. Let's see what it does. Let's just find out what kind of effects we have when it goes down there, okay, guys? And yeah. All right, so with that said, I think this is a pretty good place to leave off. I know this was an incredibly long video, so do this for me. Write in the comments, incredibly long, if you watched it all the damn way. All right? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so if you did this, just say short video. not enough. Because that'll get everybody to then start joking around. So do that. All right. Do that if you came all the way down here right in the video. Short video, not enough. I love you guys so much, and I bid you well, and we shall speak very, very scary Jerry soon. All right, team. Please take anything that I speak about within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever, ever, 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 ever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well. A very, 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 very good rest of your night. And I'll catch you at the bell mañana. Adios, team. Oh, yeah.